and it's all about Jerry. So I think you know where I'm going, but maybe not. Jerry Jones gave a weekly decree. The state of the Cowboys here addressed his weekly radio spot in Dallas. Now, Jerry was all over the place. He said it's not a lack of effort issue. He said the players are playing hard. Now, asked about most fans believing that he is the biggest issue holding the Dallas Cowboys back, there was a survey done by a TV station in Dallas that said 70% of Cowboy fans are pointing the finger at Jerry Jones. Jerry answered the question, and, well, rather than me tell you what he said, here's Jerry's response to that survey. Take a listen.
That's very fair. That's very fair. It's well known that no decision is ultimately made there for what I either haven't acquiesced or approved it. That's very fair. How could you think otherwise?
All right. There you go. All right, here's more from Jerry, who did point out, even though he makes all the decisions, he has a blue ribbon panel of people around him. Take a listen.
Whether it be who's out there coaching, whether it be who's out there playing, whether it be the stadium you're walking into, whatever it is here, that's the way it is. Now, let me just say this. Do I have a huge amount of input in making those decisions? When they've done their homework, they are very influential input to me. And we've got a lot of people in the Dallas Cowboys that have done their input. And I think I've forgotten what it is. Now, I'm not trying to say this, but if you look at who's won the games over the last 4 or 5 years, Kansas City has, of course, but we're not far right. We're right in that pack.
All right, so let us discuss the question for the esteemed panel. Jerry Jones says it's very unfair or very fair, I should say, very fair to blame him for the Dallas Cowboys struggles. Is that how this works? Right, Jerry's response here. So I've got the mullet, Ubers, and University of Minnesota. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make some pharmacy-grade ibuprofen is what we're going to make. So, Jerry Jones is talking about what is his favorite topic. Jerry Jones, right? As long as you're talking about him and the Cowboys, all is good. All is good in Jerry's world. Now, Jerry has so much money at this point. I'm convinced because of the success of the Cowboys that he buys a new boat when the other one gets wet. He's got that kind of money, and we know he's an attention whore and all that, but this is his drug of choice. And he sounded to me like the mullet man from Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy. Like, are you kidding me? Where are we at? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40 plus 40, something like that. So how do you like them apples, right? Remember the golden rule. Just because you have identified a problem, right? Just because you identified the issue does not mean that you're any closer to solving it. Ergo, Jerry accepts his culpability completely. However, he is not going to relinquish control. Why would he? He bought the team. And Jerry's losing it a little bit. For example, Jerry Jones was asked about the loss to the Ravens in this radio interview. And listen to Jerry explain why it's a loss, but it's not a bad loss because of how good Baltimore was last year. Let's go to the audio tape.
We're playing a team that was a Super Bowl team last year. Went to the Super Bowl and had lost the first 2 games. They stuck to what they do best. They came in here, their quarterback, their run game, all of that worked against a team and us that are still got to put it together. But that's what this game is.
All right. Well, that is amazing. See, I was at the Super Bowl. I didn't go to the game, but I was at the Radio Row stuff, and I remember Kansas City, and I remember the 49ers. I must have missed the Ravens' appearance at the Super Bowl. I must have. But Jerry saw it. He was there. He witnessed everything. Now staying with that, page 2. So CeeDee Lamb, good old CeeDee Lamb, He did not talk to the media. He hid like a coward or a lamb after Dallas lost, and he had a hissy fit during that game this past weekend. Now, CeeDee Lamb did talk to the media this week. He said the Cowboys must be looking at the man in the mirror, is what he said, to turn things around. So what does that mean? What does he mean by this? CeeDee Lamb saying that the Cowboys must look at the man in the mirror. So Lamb is going to do what Lamb is going to do, right? His full quote was a microcosm of what appears to be wrong in Dallas. Lamb said the following, quote, "That goes back to looking at the man in the mirror," he said. "I don't really look at a game plan as far as to dictate the game because at the end of the day, we got to go out there and make those plays." All right. He says, "I don't really look at the game plan." How does that hit you? Well, it hits me kind of a version of a baseball quote from years ago. You've got 50-plus players and 50-plus Ubers. Dysfunction junction. What's your function? Mike McCarthy, the rotund coach, and his staff supposedly spend several days a week coming up with a recipe, X's and O's, so CeeDee Lamb can go out there and ignore the game plan and just improvise. Now, the good news is the Cowboys have the perfect tonic normally for their illness. Now, the perfect tonic is a play date with Danny Dimes and the Giants on Thursday night. Now, if you stumble against the G-Man, it becomes a Lollapalooza-style pity party is what it becomes. Now, last word here. So there are whispers around the NFL outside of Dallas. We're going to Philadelphia now. Whispers around the NFL that say nobody would want Eagles coach Nick Sirianni if he ends up losing his job at the end of the year. Is fired unceremoniously from Philly, despite being in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Is that fair or is that foul? So no lies detected, right? No lies detected. Sirianni is a tremendous, from what I know of him, front runner. A great front runner. But he's more like a modern-day baseball manager than a football coach. I look at him like a Dave Roberts, Aaron Boone type coach, meaning, not a compliment, meaning that he is a conduit to the front office. And he must be a big University of Minnesota fan because he's a gopher. Not a golden gopher. He's a gopher, right? And he just repeats the company line from the front office, the analytical department, go for it on fourth down as early and as often as possible. And Eagles were somehow getting shut out until the fourth quarter, in part because of the analytics. Don't kick the field goal. No! Go for it. Go for it. But he is a middle manager is what he is. He's a company cheerleader, and so if that's what your heart desires, he's the perfect sock puppet. But remember that you can make statistics say anything you want, anything at all you want. It's both easy to, it's easy to lie with statistics, and many people believe them. So just go with it. Why not?